I have three loves in my life when it comes to what I follow. It's hockey, baseball, and Disney. It's sort of those are the three licenses that I want. Those are the three. That's the three with things that I do every day. That I and I have two of the three. I don't have a Disney license, so um, per what I believe is I got to continue drawing it. The opportunity will never come to my door if I don't continue drawing it. A la the MLB, a la the NHL. That opportunity is going to come. And it's been 8 years, 9 years, and I still in my back of my mind, I believe that that opportunity is going to come. So I just got to persevere and continue drawing what I love.
What would you do if the passion you've poured yourself into is met with absolute rejection? Would you keep going or walk away? Up next, I sit down with Preston, a renowned minimalist artist whose journey from uncertainty to success is a masterclass in perseverance. From learning a hard and expensive lesson from the NHL, he pivoted and decided to take a different angle, which landed him with an MLB licensing deal that changed his life forever. Preston's story is proof that sometimes the biggest opportunities come disguised as obstacles. His ability to embrace setbacks, adapt his approach, and continue to do what he loves reminds us that talent, hard work, and a little bit of luck can take us further than we ever imagined. Get ready to be inspired as Preston shares how he turned a no into the Baseball Hall of Fame on this episode of Navigating No. Preston, thank you so much, man. I've been looking forward to this interview for several weeks, actually.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be cool.
Well, your journey is amazing because you're a minimalist artist, but you set out on this journey not even knowing that you were going to be an artist. And I think your story is fantastic. And where you have come from and where you are now might have not have been a straight line, but I thought that your story was so impactful and you have so much value to bring to an audience about your story. And so it's like, I wanted to bring you on. So thank you for being a part of this today.
Yeah, this is awesome. I was listening to some of your old podcasts, and I think the artist perspective of how it's not a typical route, and there's no same route to become a successful artist, and each one has their unique challenges. But it's definitely different than the regular job success. It's all merit based. It's all like doing something. It's all very fear based. So I thought this would be a very creative way to tell my story. It's awesome.
Well, I love that. You and we didn't actually meet, but we connected with each other because in Anaheim at a Star Wars celebration, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I have always been someone who sees a piece of art and I'm like, I want that. Like, I love that. I fall in love with it immediately because I can go into an art gallery, for example, and be like, no, I don't see anything. Nothing says that. But when I see a piece of art that stands out, I'm like, wow, that speaks to me. It brings out this emotion in me and I connect with it immediately. I want that piece of art. And my daughter, go ahead.
I know it's curious which piece it was. It was one of the minimalist pieces.
Yeah, so I actually bought, but I love my AT-AT. Like, this has been a piece of my life's journey forever. I'm a huge Imperial fan, and the AT-AT was just like one of the coolest things. It was like my pet dog before I had a dog, right? And so I bought one of your AT-AT legs, and as a minimalist, you basically show the least amount that you can possibly show for art, and let our imagination, our creativity create that. But I know it. Like, I know those are the AT-AT legs. And I walked by it and I fell in love with it immediately. But my daughter was with me and she loves Boba Fett and she loves Baby Yoda or Grogu. And you had smaller pictures. And one of the people at your booth was like, well, I can get Preston to sign it for you. And I was like, I would love that. And so we left and I was actually there just visiting, and then we came back and you had signed it and we didn't actually meet, but it was like
Okay.
you went above and beyond because you wrote a special message to my daughter. And it was just like for a service industry or someone who is an entrepreneur and has their own business, for you to be able to do that, you made not only my day as a dad, right? Something
Yeah.
special for my kid, but you made her day. And now those pieces, because we have three of them, are in our room. Like, and it's like every day I walk into my Star Wars room, and you're a part of that. And I just wanted to say thanks, because you impacted my daughter,
Yeah.
and you made something special for us.
I actually didn't know the story, and I don't actually remember the actual what I wrote, but I do believe that's an amazing story, and it's nice to hear that kind of feedback, because my belief is that when you create artwork and you put it on the wall, it's actually me that's on your wall. It's actually my artwork, and you have to walk by it every day. I mean, I say art has to be on the wall will be on the wall for 20 years, and then you have to walk by it and make you smile every day. And that's why I'd like to do those little things, because it's a piece of me that's on your wall, that's helping you celebrate your joy of sports, or baseball, or Star Wars in this case.
100%. And the other thing is, it's like you, in the message when I purchased it was like, if you could have any of the prints, what number would you like? And my favorite number is 13. And so I was like, can I please have number 13 of your AT-AT Walker legs? And you gave it. And you mentioned that in the note, like, this is your favorite number. And so it was like, it was very special. And you're right. Every time we walk into that room, you are there. And it just immediately brings us back to Anaheim. Immediately, it's just
Yeah.
like a little soundtrack in your mind. It's like you hear this theme song. It's just like, whenever I hear a song, I'm like, oh, it brings me back to the summer of
Yeah.
'83, you know. And it's just like, you did that through art, and it's just wonderful. And you have this amazing talent.
There's a word in the Spanish language. I believe it's duende, and it means the moment a piece of art connects to your soul. And someone told me long ago that as an artist, you can have 50 people walk by your art and they don't see it, and I could be insulted for every person. Like, this is a great piece of art. Why don't you like it?
Yeah.
But it is that moment of art, of music, dance, or in my case, illustrations, that when it connects your soul, that 10% of the people that see it and it means something to them, that's what I'm trying to do as an artist. There's very few artists that can catch 100% of the art loving community, but those ones that
Yes.
get it, that one day moment when it connects to your soul, that's all that matters to me as an artist. And to hear that, to say, you walk by and you saw something that mattered to you, and that's important to me. And again, every morning you walk by your piece of art, and that the one day moment is like critical for how you approach your day, about how you approach that room, and how you approach life.
That is a beautiful comment. Like, I mean, seriously, that's a great way to look at life too, because it's not only with a piece of art. It's just like, to be able to bring that emotion out into people even if I'm speaking from the stage, it's like, I'm not going to connect with 100% of the people, but some of them, my message is really going to resonate with them. And they're going to take that story that I told from the stage, and they might tell their kids. We had
Yeah.
on one of our past, we had the American Ninja Warrior champion, Sandy Zimmerman, on, and she was a basketball star for Gonzaga,
Yeah.
and she was a judo champion. And I remember talking to a president of a construction company, and just pitching, speaking. And he goes, you know what? When I heard her speech, or when I heard her podcast interview, when I was listening to it in the car, it resonated with me so much.
Yeah.
And his son came out of the basketball game 15 minutes later, and he had a problem. And he used the episode conversation that I had with Sandy directly to his son, and it just lifted his son up and gave him so much more confidence. And he goes,
Yeah.
that wouldn't have happened if that conversation happened. So it's like, to be able to have a little piece of somebody's life and to make a difference is what you're doing through your art.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I wonder why, like, the Mona Lisa is famous. It's just there's enough one day moments when people saw it that it was that made it really great. And as an artist, to hone in on that and to understand that connection is so important. And there's also an important part of drawing I'm passionate about and what I love as an artist. I'm well known in the sports art world, and I think there's the side of the sports is art. I always say art and sports don't necessarily collide. I mean, I was the kid in art class, and I was the kid in who was playing sports, and I had two
Mm.
separate friends. And I was able to connect the two and figure out that moment that, when you find a piece of art you love, it's the same moment that you find sports and you love, and the moment that you go to a ballpark and you fall in love. You're still connecting to your soul, and that's all that I'm doing with art. And it seems to be unique. Not a lot of people are sports artists, but I'm
Mhm.
able to connect to those two together.
Well, I love that you just said that because I feel like I'm this uber nerd. Like I love Star Wars, I love toys, I love comics, and it's like I'm an Imperial fan, and I was like, but I did play sports, right? And it was
Yeah,
like, and I was a martial artist, but it's like I'm also a ninja nerd. Like I really loved ninjas growing up, so it's like to be able to mix that, it's like that's a part of us, and for me to be able to from the stage, for example. I bring in Star Wars pop culture all the time. I
sure.
bring in ninja things all the
Yeah,
time. And it's like, that's who I am. That's what makes me unique and stand out. It's like my journey of my experiences is what makes me.
yeah.
And you're able to pour your passion, like all your experiences into your art and
Yeah,
bring that to life.
I mean, I didn't become famous. I didn't popular. I say popular. I'm not famous. I say until I was
You're
40.
famous
So,
to me.
thank you. Until I was 40, and I think I fought a lot of those sort of. Hey, I love comic books and I love X-Men, and I'm a huge Disney fan. But I'm also a sports guy, and just a persona on each side. And I think just letting all that go and just connecting it all and just embracing it is really, really, really an important way of sort of not holding yourself back. And
Oh, I love
until
that.
I drew what I love was not it was when the point my career took off, mixing art and sports. And nowadays I mix cartoons with sports. I mean, I'm literally drawing um, Bert and Ernie in a
Bert and
baseball
Ernie.
jersey, but I'm drawing what I love, and you know what? My mother actually looks at it and goes, "Why are you drawing these cartoon characters? You're 50." And you know what? It doesn't really matter because I connect to this. There's someone out there that loves Bert and Ernie and are a Padre fan or Mariner fan, and
Yeah.
they're gonna love it. And I love them for it because they're my peoples.
Oh, yeah. You're embraced. People are embraced by that, like this connectivity of somebody else, of like sharing something. And it's like Bert and Ernie. I'm going to throw myself under the bus. I couldn't pronounce Ernie back when I was a kid, so it was
Oh,
Boy Noini. And my mom was
mm,
always like making fun of it. But she still reminds me of that. And it's like that's that emotion to bring out, and everybody has that connection, whether it's sports or Disney characters. And I do want to dive into that for sure. But you didn't know you wanted to be an artist. Like you wanted to
no.
get into sports. You wanted to be a pro athlete, right?
Yes, as of all of us do, at some point we have to stop and realize that we're not that talented. So to dive back into sort of the weaving journey in a quicker way, I started in broadcast school. I wanted to at least be able to shoot cameras and be at the events, and I was never really good at it. I went to school, graduated, got a lot of like TV gigs. I was good graphically, sort of creating the interfaces and the graphics. So I moved into the graphical world. Learned how to design websites, and like the world started becoming online. So I started building these players for where. And anyways, I started honing my skills on the graphical side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And all the while just sort of randomly sharing my artwork on different platforms, social media platforms. And I think we all, as an artist or creative, we share our music or whatever on out there, and hopefully someone will find it. Well, in my case, someone found it, the minimalist stadium art, and they got quite popular. And I got a call from the Major League Baseball, their legal department, shortly after selling like the hundreds and hundreds of prints, and they said, "We really need to talk to you." And I thought, "Uh oh, I'm in trouble."
Uh-huh.
And then I called them, and they said, "Hey, you know what? We really like your art. We think it's really great. We'd like to give you a license. We would like to you want to display it, and we really think that it has some potential." And apparently that does not happen at all. Never happens.
So
I
that's a
asked a bunch of
rarity.
licensing people, and it's like it generally doesn't happen that way. So I quit my job, and I did this full time. And I didn't. I have a business partner who's a great mentor. He's my friend. We played hockey together. and he kind of encourages me through through the whole journey, actually, from start to finish.
Yeah.
And he just said, hey, you know what, in a year's time, if you hate it, if it doesn't work, that's fine. And if it's great, that's fine too. And that's part of just taking that leap of faith and seeing how, like, don't worry about the failure. If you want to do it, just do it. And he supported me the whole way. And 10 years later, or actually 11 years later, we're 9, 10 different licenses with different brands. Some of them I've gotten, some of them I've lost. Yeah, and I'm still drawing. It's it just came out of this random sort of sharingness and the sharing and designing and a bit of luck, I guess, for that phone call.
Yeah. Well, and so not only is it rare, but it's like you had someone who would push you that little bit extra to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And but was it scary, like to stop, to quit your job?
Yeah.
Were you afraid? Like did you start to question yourself, or like, were you like, I can do, I love that he hit that, your partner, is this Ian?
Yeah, it's
Who's your
Ian.
partner?
Yes.
Okay. Ian, as he says, like, try it out for a year, because you don't know. You're young enough. You can change, you can adapt, you can pivot. But it's like you would have more regret not trying. Right? You would always question in your mind, like later, like, oh, would it have taken off? And so you
Yeah.
took a chance. How scary
Yeah.
was it
It
to quit your job?
it was weird because my worry was that other people would judge me for it. I was like, "Why did you quit your job? Why did you do that?" And at the end of the day, everyone does it, and everyone actually. And when I finally did it, everybody was like, "I'm so proud of you! You did it!" And even when I do things and I fail, they're always like, "Oh, man, I wish I could do that. Like, I wish I had the energy to do that." And like, you have so much courage, and I'm like, I didn't. I just did it. And
But
I think the
how was
perspective
it?
of,
Ian pushing you? Was
well,
it Ian pushing you?
I think it's a little bit of, it was my dream at the time. So the reason why I was sharing online is I wanted something great to happen. I think a part of me knew that there was a talent and a skill, and that why I was sharing online. But he saw that, and but he put it in a perspective that I don't manifest it as too large and create anxiety about what the future will look like, and what failure looks like, and what all those things that you sort of project forward. And it's just, hey, let's just do it for a year. I'll support you. Let's do it. You're good. And he kept on telling me positive things. And by putting it in a, do it for a year and then you can go back to your old job. Yeah, that kind of made sense. I can just go back to my old job. All those sort of things. So yes, there was a lot of fear, but it was something I wanted to do. I mean, it's our dream to just sort of not have an employer and just be creative and have that. So yeah, no, it was a scary moment, but glad I did it.
Oh, well, I'm glad you did too, because your art is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, but to go back, I think you started some minimalist work with the hockey brands, and I think you were told no with that.
Yes. Yes.
So
Um,
can you kind of explain that story?
So stepping back from the minimalist ballparks, so minimalism has sort of always been my sort of style. Very, if you get it, if you understand what you're seeing, you get it. If you know it, you know it.
Mm-hmm.
I did the minimalist logos. They're very creative. Sold hundreds of them. I did get a cease and desist, and I did get a lawyer from the NHL, and they did they did and I had to send them a bunch of money, and I learned a major
Oh.
lesson on that. So
Mhm.
moving forward, I was like, I still wanted to do this. I still thought minimum was something that mattered, and I was 3 or 4 years later, I forgot the time span. Uh, I realized that physical buildings cannot be trademarked. You can't trademark a building. You can trademark, if I build a certain building, you can trademark so that someone else can't build the same building, but you can draw it. It's so
Mm-hmm.
I was a no legal issue. So that was sort of, I love stadiums. I saw the uniqueness of all the ballparks of that, and I love baseball. So that was sort of the first failure, was the creation of the second item. I didn't quite give up yet. Um,
Yeah.
I still wanted this whole collection of minimalism in the sports world, and something drew me to that. I honestly, until this day, I probably didn't realize that I persevered and continued on trying to find a new minimalist angle in sports to try to
Well,
get into that world.
yeah, well, and you found a new angle, right? Like you paid for it, right? It
Yeah,
hurt. It cost something,
yeah,
right? And there's like the anxiety and stress to be sued. Like, no, thank you, right?
yeah,
And so you're like, oh, you're scared, but you didn't give up on it. And then you learned from it and you were like, what could I do to take this at a different angle? And you did with the MLB. And
yeah.
then they picked you up. They put you into the Hall of Fame, right?
Correct.
They
Yes.
took yours, and then you got a phone call from the NHL again.
Yeah, so randomly I was I was at the sports licensing trade show every January in Vegas. I had my booth and I was set up there, and the head of NHL licensing comes by and goes, "I love that. You guys should work for us." And in, I'm gonna send over this lady, and she's gonna talk to you about licensing. And next thing you know, she was like, "I guess I'm licensing you," and whatnot. So ironically, it took me a little bit of while to actually like resubmit those pieces that I
Sure.
did not, that I got a cease and desist on, and now they're all licensed. They're all official artwork of the NHL.
What a full circle story, Preston. That is
Yeah,
amazing. I
yeah.
love that. Did you mention to her, you're like, FYI, I spent X dollars. Is there any way that we can throw this into
I
the
don't
new
know if
contract?
I don't know if I mentioned it, and I don't know if she knows that she's the same name that sent me
Oh
the one.
no. Oh, that's irony right there. I
Yeah,
love that.
and now we're
Oh,
great
wow.
friends. I do so much for the NHL and do artwork for them. So uh, again, it's kind of definitely a full circle moment. Um,
Wow. Well,
um,
we just went to went over to Seattle and we actually went to a hockey game over there, and it was just like it is so funny to see like a logo, but then to see something that is a caricature, or let's call it something that's a little bit more, that just brings out so much more emotion. I mean, that's why the mascots are so important to kids. And it's like, it's not a hockey player, it's a dog, right? And so you're
yeah,
like, oh, what is this troll over here? And it's like you capture those emotions in different ways, and whether that's with baseball or with hockey or anything like that. And it's like, how awesome of to not only hit kids, but to hit adults who were kids.
interesting. Yes, yes. That was sort of the next after the stadium art was done. What do I do next? I need to make more art. I mean, then I have licensing fees to pay for, and I need to continue creating new pieces. And the mascots were sort of next, and I thought it fit in with the model of what you said, which is I call it the non-man cave art.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a dirty jersey framed on the wall. It's not a puck signed by a player. It's not memorabilia. Mine is art, and it's meant to be in the living room. And then I thought, there what other rooms exist in the house, and it's the kids' room, and the mascots are important to them. What's really cool is I've learned to meet many of the mascots. A lot of the Seattle mascots I know quite well. It's a quick phone call, and they're the greatest. I've learned to, but I always say mascots never get traded too. So that's why that mascots are kind of a safe zone when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to making artwork. So yeah,
Well, I love that you mentioned like the cave art, right? And it's like, what's interesting is when I went by your booth, your prints aren't exorbitant. It's not like some of the art out there is like
all right,
twenty
I'm gonna
five
jack the
thousand
price.
dollars.
I'm
It's like,
jacking the prices up then.
perfect, perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, you better get on the site now, and
No,
we'll
I'm
plug that
joking.
later.
Yeah,
It but what you do is you offer like a kids version. You offer like little postcards, and it's like it makes it available to everybody, right? And I think that that's a special thing that I don't know if you intentionally do that, but
yeah,
it just you open it up for everyone to enjoy it. And I think that's a great thing and a service that you provide with your products.
yeah. I think when I first got started, there was a couple values that I tried to gravitate. I actually listened to a ton of podcasts because I've never been in the art world. I didn't take art classes. I didn't take art history. All I sort of knew is that I had a cool piece of art. But what do you do with that? How do you become successful with that? I mean, you buy a piece of art and then like my career could have like that was it. I'm back to my old job again. So how do you sustain things? And I think the two values that I've held on to was a like we talked earlier, you buy the artist, not the art. Um,
Mm,
and it's important to be present as an artist when they buy the art to know that they're buying a piece of me. The second piece is spend 80% of your time. Most artists want to spend 80% of their time on the art and 10%, and sorry, did the bad math, 80% and then 20% on the business. And because I don't want to deal with marketing, I don't want to deal with price points, I don't want to deal with the quality of paper,
yeah.
all those things.
You know
But
your
I flipped,
strengths.
I flipped that, and I said, the art's easy. Give me 20 minutes, I can draw you something. Um, but if I spend 80% of my time on the business and understanding why people buy, what they're looking for,
Mm.
who is my business, I focus all my time on marketing and how Facebook ads work and how all those things work. And created a business for myself around my artwork, knowing that I can spend 20% of my time and do that's the fun stuff, and then learn to enjoy the 80%. So when you speak about price points, that's the first thing sort of came to my head is I want to make my art accessible. That
Yes,
was important, especially when it comes to sports fans, because they're not used to buying a piece of art. They're used to buying. I'm competing against a hockey puck signed by Wayne Gretzky. I'm competing
sure.
against a $300 jersey versus my art framed.
Mhm.
So I have to find a way to at least introduce them to the world of art or world of my art.
Well, I love that you said that the 80/20 rule because even it's gold to the listener because I want everybody to hear that it's like as a speaker, everyone thinks that my speech from the stage is my work, but that's not it. That's the fun part. When I get on stage and I can be energetic, I can do handstand walks across the stage and I jazz people up and sign autographs for the books and stuff. That's fun, but it's
Yeah,
what I do prior to that, right? It's like
correct.
all the event planners I have to contact, all of the people, the rejections that I get every single day, like, hey, are you looking for a speaker, right? The cold emails that I do, the networking that I do. It's like there's so much more involved in just me getting on stage. And it's like as soon as I switched that and I made it a business, I think that happens to a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people who startups because it's like once you make that connection, that's so important because it's a business. Your brand, your image is a business. And
Yes.
it's the fun stuff is sitting down and writing it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that's the cool part, but it's the hard work. It's the grind that you do on the day to day that people don't see. They just see you as this, wow, Preston is this amazing artist and he's
Yeah.
so lucky. And they're like, no one knows your journey,
Yeah.
right? Except you and the people that listen.
And it's the easiest way to just call it talent. Oh, you're so talented. And
Mhm.
that talent took so long to create, to nurture my own talent, and so long of the 80% of the business to nurture, to get you to walk into my door of my gallery and say that. It took a lot of energy, of entrepreneurial and business energy, to get you to walk in to say you're so talented. And that's how I see talent. It's just so much work behind it, that's required. So anyways, those were my sort of the two values that helped me get through where I am today, is still spending 80% of my time learning about the business, and wishing I could draw more.
Well, do you have a team now? Like what is you have a gallery down in Anaheim.
Yes.
Um and so do you spend most of your time there? Are you doing or do you work there? Do you have a team behind you? Like what
Yes.
does it look like now for a talented artist?
I have a full-time shipping guy. I have, and he helps me with the Sorry, he's just everything. Honestly, he spends a lot of time shipping, and he also sells in my gallery. And he's he's become a great friend of mine. I also have a business manager that sort of manages a lot of the business end of it, and then I have a business partner. So that's the extent of it, of who I have, of my team.
Hmm.
HR is always been a struggle. I'm notorious for hiring and firing, and I am an artist. So I have very unique specific needs whenever I want something done or not done, and everything. So I've gone through a lot of employees, and I found that was able to find the people that work well with me and understand my objectives as an artist and as a business person. That's a struggle. It's still a struggle today.
Oh,
HR is never going to be my strength.
well, but you know that it's not your strength. And so that's a scary thing too. If you want to scale your business, it's like you have to relinquish some kind of power or some kind of equity, or you have
Yeah,
to pay somebody to bring on a talent that is better than you are at something, or will do the things that just make you cringe.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. And so at what point did you realize, like, you're like, I need to bring more people on. I need to take that chance, and I have to pay somebody to do the things that
yeah.
that I don't want to do.
It's a great question. Actually, the original antithesis of, or I don't know what I try to use big words, but I'm an artist. So
Let's stick with talent.
Yeah, so Ian basically said, "You are overworking. We need people." And I mean, I am so grateful that I have a business partner who I can call anytime, and he's an extremely intelligent man, and he respects everything I do. So he's the one eventually said, "We let's go find somebody. Let's go hire. Give me a list of." Again, he broke it down very simply. Just give me a list of the people that you like, and let's just call him. And
Oh
I was like,
wow.
oh yeah, okay, let's just call him. And out of the 4 or 5 people, one of them happened to be Eric, who's my gallery guy. He just happened to be leaving his job, and he's like, I'm looking for something right now. And it turned out as he's been with me for 7 years. So um, I forgot the point of the question, but yeah. So it's someone helps me, and Ian helps me use the focus on the right side of the brain, or get through all those anxiety questions where I'm going left side, right. And I think a lot about my creative side and my analytical side, and I'm constantly jumping back and forth. So he helps me narrow those things down for me.
It's. I mean, I think that's so valuable because I do know my strengths, right, and I know my weaknesses, and I don't know everything. And so for me to bring someone on and help me just scales me, because and leverage that time. But
Yeah,
it is scary, and that was the point of the question. It's like not knowing what the outcome will be, because it hurts.
yeah,
It sucks to pay somebody to do something that you know you can do,
yeah,
but it's like you're better off doing the things that you're really, really good at. And that kind of breaks down to the 80/20 rule too. If you've heard that, it's that if you can hire someone who is 80% of you and 20% of not you,
okay,
that's a really great employee to have,
yeah,
right? Because nobody's going to be Preston, right? But
yeah,
somebody is going to bring a lot of Preston and bring your values and understand your message and what you're trying to achieve. And it's like when you find those people, that's golden. And it sounds
yeah.
like you have a great team behind you now that is that 80/20.
They're really great. And my business manager actually managed another artist. He was actually and again he got let go and by that artist. And we've known him for I've known him for years, and I know his work ethic, and I know his the way he operates. And yeah, it's turned out, and I have a good team with me. I'm always looking to expand, but I always be cautious because it's simple.
Sure.
Yeah, I always be cautious. But again, about my weaknesses, I know that's a weakness. So again, I'll spend 80% of my time of that 80% just sort of working away at it, on mentally um, getting better at it, and actually jumping and doing it, and all those sort of things. That's where I spend that 80% of the
Oh,
business,
yeah.
of
Um,
improving, of the self improvement, knowing that it's a weak spot.
Well, and not only improving you and like your team and your gallery and your brand and your image, but it's also like you're expanding your business model too. Like
Yeah.
you can't just do the same logos, right? You have to expand. And you got into I want to call it the women in baseball, or the girls, and
Oh
what
yeah,
is it?
yeah,
The
yeah. We were doing a little project there for a while. Yeah, yeah,
And I mean, it's just like you took these Disney princesses and you added to the baseball let's
Yeah.
call it like the just the idea behind it in the jerseys or something like that. And it's like
Yeah.
you're just expanding your business, and it's like you're just trying new things out. You're testing the waters.
Yeah.
How that
Well,
was I those are fantastic.
Well, if we want to pivot to the negativity, which I still struggle with this concept. So I have three loves in my life when it comes to what I follow. It's hockey, baseball, and Disney. It's sort of those are the three licenses that I want. Those are the three. That's the three with things that I do every day. Um, that I and I have two of the three. I don't have a Disney license. So um, per what I believe is I got to continue drawing it. The opportunity will never come to my door if I don't continue drawing it. So that's why I still continue to draw Disney characters and even though there's no money in it, like I give it away at the stadiums and I just draw it for fun. It's still important to continue to draw it because I want the opportunity to come a la the MLB, a la the NHL. That opportunity is going to come. And it's been 8 years, 9 years, and I still in my back of my mind, I believe that that opportunity is going to come. So I just got to persevere and continue drawing what I love, and that door will open. I've knocked on the door of Disney so many times, and nothing. Some things has shape has come about of it, but other things have not. And Star Wars is one of them. I think we've talked how I was licensed with Star Wars for a while, and now I'm not licensed with them. But that was an opportunity that may have that opens that door and closes. So I still persevere at it. I still believe that I'll get another. The Star Wars will come back to me in some way, and I believe that Disney will. I'll be able to do my Disney art at some point, but um, it's hard because I'm doing what I love, but there's other things that I also want, and I will continue to persevere on it.
Well, and you have these dreams, like you have these goals, and you
Yeah,
just keep moving towards those goals. And you never know when you're going to meet the person that is the person who can pull that lever, the
right.
decision maker behind it. And it's like someone can see your Darth Vader helmet behind you and say, okay, he loves Star Wars. Maybe he'll pour his passion into some other Disney character or something like
Yeah,
that. Or somebody hears my podcast and they say, "Oh, I didn't know Blue was a Star Wars fan, but there he is." Right. And it's
right.
like, it'll only take the right eyes to see you or the
Yeah,
right person to the decision maker to actually do that. And I think a lot of people don't know that. It's like, you just got to keep going because it will only take that one yes to
yeah.
totally change the trajectory of your life.
So here's one of my perspectives on how to become successful in the creative world. Um, I
Yeah.
believe that you need talent, you need hard work, and you need luck. Those are the three. That's the formula. Um, if you have talent and hard work and you never have the luck, you'll never be success. You won't be successful. If you have the luck and the hard work, but you don't have the talent, someone can come along and say, "Hey, you don't have the talent, then nothing will come." If you know what I mean. So you don't need like two is not enough. You
Yeah.
need all three things to come together to be successful. And I guess where my focus is out of those three, you can't really control two of them. You can't control your talent. You can't control your luck, but you can
Yeah.
control your hard work. And so that's where I sort of, at least if I have failure and things aren't working, as long as I have a goal in mind, I can focus on that. I can focus on the hard work part, and if the luck never comes, it's just never came, right?
But you're doing what you love, right? And you're putting your passion in, and it sounds to me like you're doing what you do love, and so it's not really work, right? So you have
Correct.
that fallback,
Yeah.
right? But I agree 100% about the if you're putting your hard work and your talent, or if you're putting your hard work in behind it, it is eventually going to be seen by the right person.
Yes.
Uh, and if it isn't, then you're just given a lot of good. Like, how many
Yeah.
people have you changed emotionally through a simple drawing, right? You
Yeah.
had no idea that my daughter Hayden loves her baby Yoda, her Grogu signed autograph picture. Like,
Right.
you have no idea the difference that you're making in this world, but you're doing it, and you're putting in the hard work, and
Yeah.
eventually, hopefully, you get found. and
Yeah.
you've been found. You're already found, and I love it.
I'm found already, so I'm okay. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm okay already, so I can continue to out. But I still find that drive, that urge to do that next thing, to new next drive thing. We can't sit
Well,
on there. So I think the funny thought that I had was is the ballpark princess giveaway. So I can't sell my
mhm,
princess art. So I what I decided to do is like let's start drawing princesses in the I go to a stadium, I would draw the princess in whatever home jersey that they're wearing and then the first person that finds me on Instagram or Twitter will get the art for free, and I would just
mm.
give it to them. And I don't it's not it's just a way to just share and give, and like you said, it's if I'm not it's I get to draw it every day, and it gets toward my sort of, if I get Disney license, goal.
Mhm.
But I still get to give, and someone enjoys it, and share the Duende moment with somebody out there, at no cost to anybody, really. So it's important. It makes me happy, and it makes someone else happy, and unknowingly in this
Oh,
world.
let me ask you this, because this makes my day. When I was a personal trainer and someone would come up to me later, 15 years later, 20 years later, and they're like, "Do
Yeah,
you remember when I was a kid and you were in a class and you said this, or you made us do this, and you made me do a real push-up?" Like, you have no clue how that impacted me, and it changed my life. And that emotion that I get from being told by someone that I've changed their life, like
yeah.
I've helped them in some way or another, influenced them in some way, that's the reason we're here, right? And it's like, you how does that feel when someone posts a picture and they give you a great shout out, or they send you a thank you card, like a handwritten one, and maybe they draw the same thing, but it's a kid and it looks
Yeah.
like something I would draw with chicken scratch, right? Because I didn't go to school for drawing. How does that make you feel?
It's weird because I've been doing this for like now 11 years, and I remember that very first year that kid that came to my booth like, I love this, I want to draw, I want to work in sports, and 11 years later he's working for the San Jose Sharks, and he's like, and he messaged me, he's like, I love my art, and I was like, yeah, because we love sports, so I'm happy to talk to you. And yeah, and it's I'm not sure if my art inspired them, but there are some people that start creating because of my artwork, and it is very cool to put out it put part. I mean, I think Derek Jeter said is that he said about his philanthropy. He said, you can't just keep on taking from this world, and if I do art and keep on taking money and keep on just you can't keep on taking. You need to give back equal, to actually to create balance, and that's real. So that's really does when I hear those stories of people who are it brings them joy, that's the balance that it helps bring it that brings to me.
Well, it's like that boomerang effect. The harder you throw it, the faster it comes back, and it
Yeah,
does reward you in a different way. It doesn't have to be monetarily. It can be like that emotion that when you open that, when we opened your art and it
yeah,
had a special note, and it was like, wow, this guy went above and beyond and made a difference to my child. And as a father, like I was telling you, it's just like, that's impressive. My kid loves Star Wars because forever she thought she really knew Darth Vader, right? Like she was like, because you see, I had friends in the 501st in the Seattle area, and they would like send her Facebook messages, or they would call her, and it was like magic. She really believed,
yeah,
right? And these guys dressed up as Darth Vader, and girls like as a stormtrooper, deliver a package to her, and just it's magical, like Santa Claus. It is absolutely magical, and it is a special thing in your heart. Like
yeah,
I this toy, I went in for a
yeah,
surgery on my tooth, and my mom bought it. And it was like, that has so much attachment to it. It's a toy, right?
yeah,
It's like, but it now makes me love Star Wars that much more. It immediately reminds me of Empire Strikes Back. It makes a connection with my mom. And all she had to do probably back in the day is go to Toys R Us or KB Toys or something like that,
yeah,
right? I don't know what they had in Toronto, but it's like, whatever it was like it's the special thing that just takes us back, this flush of memories. And obviously this kid who now works for the Sharks, you had you had
yeah,
that spark.
yeah.
That
No,
is
it's
fantastic.
it's fantastic. Yes, yeah. It's I never thought that, like, my art had have that kind of longevity, but it is gone. Yes, many a lot of years since then. So it's cool.
Well, and it's not even done. You still have so much more to give, and you still have another goal with Star Wars to and Disney to take on, right? That's going
Yeah,
to be your next goal.
yeah.
And I see you being right in Anaheim by Disneyland. I think things are going to change for you, Mister. I think I can see something happen for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
well,
I
that's
hope so.
awesome. Well, I believe in you, and I
Uh,
believe in your talent and your hard work. What it if you were to say, like, along the road about being an artist, what were some of the hardest no's that really hit home? Like, I mean, we've covered a couple, but is there something that really stands out to you that was a very difficult no that you would love to share?
I mean, I did share some of the big ones for me. I actually just recently, so I was sitting at a ballpark doing the ballpark princess giveaway, and I was sitting beside a gentleman who's 20 years in Disney licensing, and had a that has that he said, "I love what you do." He saw the person coming running down the steps, and was crying, and was like, "Oh my god, I got this art!" And he saw this whole thing happen in real time, and he worked for Disney. He has created products for Disney, and actually, so I thought that was really cool. And said, I gotta make some phone calls," and I did a piece for him, and he presented it to Disney, and about I would say about a month ago, he called me and said, "I don't think it's going to happen." Um,
Oh,
so, he, and that was very hard. Like, I thought I was actually really close. They were really intrigued with the idea of mixing the characters with sports, and my connections with sports. So that's a very recent no that still stings to this day. Um,
oh,
but immediately, my business manager knows how much that didn't really work. But I'm already starting to pivot. Like, okay, now who's the next person we're gonna find, and when's the next opportunity going to happen? Um,
yeah.
I actually kind of have sort of different the piece that I created for Disney, which was, I think it was Mickey and Minnie Mouse around Valentine's Yankees or something. I forgot it was the piece. I'm gonna present that to someone else that I know in the Disney world because it got close, I feel like I can continue. I got to continue to persevere and find new angles to present them because they have seen it. So. Uh, it's
Well,
weird.
and
I just can't. I just the no. Just it's. I want it. It's the goal, and I just can't seem to. I just really won't let it go, even though those no's happen. And I can tell you five other Disney no stories,
mhm.
and for some reason I still think I'm gonna it's gonna happen. Um,
It is.
but I still believe.
I'm going to be your life coach right now. This
Yeah,
is going to happen. And I think, like, your NHL story of being able, like, getting hit with the lawsuit and cease and desist, and going through
yep,
that anxiety and that stress, it just taught you a different angle, and then you pitched it differently, and then
yes.
look what happens.
I would
And
have
so
never,
I
yes, I would
think,
have never given up
yeah.
on if I didn't have that experience or had that opposite experience with the MLB. And I can here's another sort of a crazy sort of semi Star Wars. A gentleman calls me up and says, "Hey, we're making a new mascot for college football." And I was walking by your booth 3 years ago in Anaheim, and you're creating these little mascots of Boba Fett and Baby Yoda, and I wonder if you can do that for me. I remember picking up your card, it's been sitting on my desk for 3 years, and I finally decided to call you and find out if you're interested. And didn't know I was a sports artist, no idea. Just thought I was a Star Wars artist.
Mhm.
He's the CFO of all of college football, and um, so fast forward to creating his mascot, doing a bunch of artwork for his mascot. I just came back from Atlanta 2 weeks ago, had a booth display of my championship artwork. Um, and I'm the only artist that actually have rights to design artwork for the College National Football Championship. Um, because
Congratulations.
yeah. So I mean, he just happened to have my card at Celebration in that same one in Anaheim. He just picked it up and said, "Oh, that's cool." And next thing you know, so you don't know where these opportunities come from. You just keep on putting your stuff out there, and one thing
Yes.
great will happen. You'll hear a no here, but you hear yes here. Actually, I got a bit of a rough time on that in that Celebration there. That was sort of the beginning of the downfall of my Star Wars licensing. I don't get this. I think was what I heard. What's
Oh, from Lucas.
from yeah, yeah. And why are you doing this? So yeah, so there's negativity and positivity, and just got to keep on putting yourself out there, and not get in trouble.
Oh,
Don't get in trouble
yeah.
doing it. Don't
Yeah,
break the law
you
doing it.
don't.
But you got to continue drawing. You're allowed to draw whatever you want in this world. So I just keep on drawing it.
Well, you hit on something very important, and that is that it's like um, being able to pivot and to be able to move forward. You're never going to know when you will meet someone who can change your life. You never know when or where that might happen. And if it's 3 years down the road, you were told no now, maybe in 3 years down the road, all of a sudden it opens up. That door that was closed to you opens up 3 years later.
Yeah,
And but that's your talent, right? And your referability of people seeing what you can actually do, the value that you're bringing to people, that
yeah,
emotion that you draw out of people just because of something that you've put on paper or print.
yeah,
And I think the reason that you and I connected originally is because the same thing. I have been projecting that I I'm going to admit I am an uber Star Wars fan. Like I just love it, right? Like I'm the original and born in 1977 and so I love Star Wars. And it has just been my dream to be able to really dig into Lucasfilm and now Disney. And it's like I projected like I want to speak at Star Wars Celebration. And so I was projecting and projecting and projecting, and all of a sudden I submitted and I got hooked, and I got it. And so
awesome.
I wanted to go, yes. And so I wanted so badly to get this, and I've been projecting it, and I've heard no's of like everybody might see my might see my Star
Yeah,
Wars shirt, and it's like, or I talk about it from the stage, and it's like it just will take that one person,
yeah,
right? And I even know actors in the Star Wars realm, right? And it's like just being able to be a part of that because it's changed my life. That pop culture has
yeah,
changed my life, right? And I never knew, but I projected it, and I just kept going and kept going. And that's what actually brought me to you because I wanted to create like a logo based off of Dark Side for Life for me, and to have something that encapsulates like me as a speaker
yeah,
with the dark side. And that's why I reached out to you, and you're like, oh, I don't do this anymore for Lucasfilm, but you introduced me to people and you brought me into the realm, and it was like, okay, and so now I'm going down this new path of like, how do I best take advantage of basically creating a brand and an image for me to show my love for Star
yeah.
Wars and to be able to share that with so many
Yeah.
other people.
It's so weird for me. I mean, if you knew me before this, I was depressed. Had no direction. And I still am like that. I'm really down on myself. And so the sort of persona that I feel like I'm projecting here is that I'm very positive and very like, go get it, go get it. I'm hard on myself. It's brutal, and I really get down on myself, but it's that sort of perseverance and knowing that something good might happen is sort of the dog on the bone that I sort of latch onto when it comes to getting past those it didn't happen, or why am I drawing this, and all
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. Just knowing the 1,000 foot view is so much more clearer, and I can
Yes.
see the further out by not complaining about what's going on right now and what I'm drawing. Sometimes I draw stuff that I don't like, um and I have to persevere through it. So knowing that
Because
that's
it might be one of their most popular pieces, right?
right. Yeah, exactly. So,
You have no
yeah,
idea.
just to let you know, I am not always happy with myself at all, and even today, it's difficult. But yeah, you try to find that positivity, and I guess that's the point of your podcast. Is I think we all sort of are hard on ourselves, and if I wasn't successful, what would I have been doing? Well, would have been persevering and still on that old job, but still sending
Hmm.
stuff out there. I believe that's what I would have been doing.
Oh, that's yeah. And I mean, it's like we're our own worst enemy sometimes, right? And it's like
Yeah.
we're the hardest on ourselves, whether it's that imposter syndrome or am I good enough? And it's like when we stop living for the approval of others is kind of the day that you're like, okay, I can do this. But what I've heard you say several times through today is that you kind of had a confidence team. You really did. You had
Yep.
people that believed in you. You
Yeah.
started getting all of this feedback from people that were like, no, Preston, you're fantastic. Like you've got to take this to this next level. But then you took a chance. And
Yeah.
when you did take that chance, you got hit with the NHL. But then you reversed it, you found a new angle, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you started to see that those goals being set. And you still have these goals, but you had this group and support system of your greatest cheerleaders that still believe in you.
Yeah.
And even if you still question it, because I mean, that's that demon that we all have. Like, oh, am I good enough for this? But it's like, that's why you need a group of people that support you and help you and believe in you.
Yeah.
And if that's the whole idea also, it's like spreading this message to other people. I want people to realize that no matter who I'm talking to, uh, it's about realizing that we're not alone. You're not the only person who has ever been rejected or not gotten a job or not gotten a licensing from an NHL brand,
Yeah.
right? It's like there's always somebody who's gone through it too. So you're not alone. And if you're not, if you realize that and you change your perspective and you see objectively versus taking it personally,
Yeah.
it really helps. And to have that group of people that reminds you of that and pushes you like, you can do this. Give it a year. I love that timestamp because
Yeah.
it's something that you can actually see. And you can tell your friends, I'm giving this a year, and it keeps you uh, focused on that. But it's like when that year comes, all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
I did it in 3 months. It didn't take a year. Wow. Maybe I should do double my income, right? Like
Yeah.
it pushes those boundaries, not in a goalpost like, oh, I'm never going to achieve it. It's like, I already reached my goalpost. No, it's my next one. And your next one is Disney, right? And so it's like,
Yeah.
how do you get there? And I just want everyone to hear that it's just this, your journey is the failures that you've gone through and all of those rejections. It's like you are who you are today and you are successful because of all of those failures, all of those rejections that you've heard.
Uh, Absolutely. I was listening to you as a mentor and coach to myself because I'm thinking back. All those people are like, yes, they support me, they help me, and all those moments in my life that gets me to here, and there will be more. There will be many more failures, but by putting it in those little time capsules, and it's weird because we when I was put in a when I tell you, I tell kids when they come to my gallery and they say,
Mm-hmm.
how do I draw? I want to draw like you. And it's like, well, just I always say draw every day. And unfortunately, my gallery is a lot of tourists, so they come and go. But I like to say, just draw. Tell you what, draw every day for 30 days, and come back in 30 days and show me what you drew. Then come back in 3 months and show me what. If you encapsulate that, I put them side by side. I guarantee you they're better because we're
Oh,
humans and we improve. And I think that's what now that I'm listening to you talk, I was thinking, well, that's basically what Ian was saying is you give it a year and yes, your failure mind might puts at least a timestamp on it. But really, as a human, we're going to get better, and we're gonna grow, and we're going to be stronger for it. So just take it. Yeah, yeah. It's such great advice to just sort of take it, just do it every day and get better. You'll naturally get better at it, like running or
oh,
exercise, right?
yeah,
Just run the block every
yeah.
day, because the next 3 weeks later you're going to want to run 4 blocks because the first block is easy. Next thing you know, you're
Yeah.
doing a marathon.
Yeah, you have to put the repetitions in. If you want to become stronger, you have to start at this lighter weight, and then you have to fail. And I mean that's what bodybuilding is. It's like weightlifting. It's like you fail, you
Yeah,
go until you fail, and then it's like let's do it again, right?
yeah,
Okay, and let's do it again. And it's like that whole journey is what is fun. And if you can
Yeah.
have fun during that journey, that's amazing. How you mentioned like these kids being able to reach out and like, tell me in 3 months, tell me in 6 months. How can people find out more about you and possibly purchase some of your art or see what you've done, and what projects are you moving towards next?
So my website is sprestondesigns.com, and I have an Instagram, sprestondesigns. Um, and and there's also a newsletter that'll pop up. So that's the best way to sign up to my newsletter to find out what my new pieces are going to be. I think the next major launch, actually the email went out this morning, was for the Stadium Series, the outdoor hockey game in Ohio. I have 2 signature pieces, commemorative pieces that are going to launch. I gotta go stand out in the cold in that outdoor game. But I'll have my artwork, and I'll be doing a Ballpark Princess giveaway there. So those are the two next big pieces, and this Bert and Ernie, all 30 MLB jerseys should launch later on in March. So those are the next big pieces, and yeah, S Preston Designs Instagram and my website, sprestondesigns.com.
Oh, I love that. It reminds me of like I used to collect baseball cards and sell baseball cards when I was a kid, and it reminds me of like the Upper Deck series. I think it was called Comic Ball or something like that with the Looney Tunes. And it some of your art reminds me of that, and it just brings back this amazing emotional attachment to that. And so
Yes.
I thank you for that.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to draw on. My love for those, pulling those cards with like Speedy Gonzalez and Nolan Ryan. I was like, those are amazing. So yes, that's exactly what I was doing.
Yes, I called it.
Yeah,
Okay, I love that. I love that. Well, I thank you so much for being a part of this. And I know that you're going to land that, because I believe in you, and I know that you're making a difference. And if it was this one difference that I could share with you today about my daughter and the piece that you gave us, you're doing good in this world, Preston. And I cannot wait to see where you go and what else you come up with, because I want people to look you up and find you and follow you and see your work, because you're making a difference. And I appreciate you very, very much.
Blue, I appreciate it a lot. I love talking about this. This is eye-opening for me as an artist, because I get to look past into my journey and see how I got here. It's an important thing to do for anybody. So I'm glad you're able to bring that out of me.
Well, thank you. And I'm sure I will see you again in the future, and maybe I'll see you down in Anaheim as well.
If not, maybe Japan.
We'll see. I love that even more. Yes, I love that. Well, I might see you in a couple of months. So thank you so much, Preston, for being a part of this today. And I'm wishing you the best of luck. And please, for the audience, check this guy out, because his art is absolutely amazing.
I would bow, but I'd fall in my chair. But thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Preston. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to Navigating No. If this episode brings you value, or you know someone who could benefit from it, the best way to support the show is by sharing and subscribing. It's completely free and helps us reach more people. And if you have any questions, feedback, or guests you'd like me to interview, drop a comment while you're there. I'd love to hear from you. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in. And let's continue sharing optimism and positivity.